Hello and welcome to the Crypto Cash. This is video one of the series how to get started with cryptocurrencies. This series or this video is just going to cover at a very high level or very basic level what is a cryptocurrency and sort of like the benefits and disadvantages maybe to having a cryptocurrency. Video two will cover how to get started, like how to buy and sell, using two of the more popular exchanges. And then video three will be how to safely and securely hold your cryptocurrencies by yourself, as so to speak, as your own bank, and how to do that safely and securely. So I think that one's extremely important. Video number three there in this series. Okay, so what is a cryptocurrency? Well, for starters, it's as you may assume, it's a digital currency. It's something that exists digitally only, and cryptocurrency. So as the name suggests, cryptography is a main feature of. I'm trying to keep this very basic, but in a very basic level, it uses cryptography to link together transactions through time, so that you know the order of transactions, and that way, if someone were to change the order, it would change how you can verify the order of the transactions. You would see immediately, anyone in the network would see that the transaction was changed, because it alters a value. And we're going to get I'm trying to keep this very basic. We're going to get into much further detail in other videos. In this case, look for the blockchain video. If I haven't released it, badger me in the comments to make sure I make the blockchain video. I already have some things recorded. I want to re-record some things to make them better. I'm trying to think of how I could do that, but or less rambly. But anyway, so a cryptocurrency is something uses cryptography. It also uses cryptography for your addresses, your private and public key, which you use to spend and sign transactions, as well as like something that you can give out to people so that they can send money to you. So you could think more like an email, the scheme of an email, where you can give out your email address and people can send emails to you, but they can't see the emails that are at that address. So in much the same way, a public and private key, or a public key, is something that you can give out, like your email address, and as the name suggests, the private key is something that you keep to yourself that allows you to view, or not just view, but spend and sign those funds at a high level on all cryptocurrencies. Okay, so that's that, and that covers the encrypted part at a high level, I think. Trustless. Okay, here's back to that idea of the blockchain, because we can't talk about cryptocurrencies without the blockchain. That's the underlying technology that enables this whole revolution of a cryptocurrency, as well as so many other things, I think, beyond cryptocurrencies, and that's something I want to cover in this channel. Okay, so trustless. The whole idea of having a digital currency is nothing new, I think, to people. You have PayPal, and you have your online banking through any number of banks, where your cash isn't cash, it's a number on the system. So it's, in that way, I don't think it's new for anyone. But what is new, I think, is how this whole idea of a blockchain, which is something that orders transactions, is something actually, when you're following sort of the protocol of cryptocurrencies, it's something that every single person on the network has a copy of, okay, or at least in most cases they do. And because you have a copy of every transaction going back to the beginning of time, and everyone else also has a copy, and using, again, remember from earlier, the cryptography to ensure that the order is correct, so that at the end I could produce a value and everyone else will produce a value, and I know that we all have the same blockchain, we all have the same history, essentially. And because all our transactions exist on this cryptographically secure public ledger, so to speak, there's no need for me to trust that you have funds, because I can just check that the address that you're sending me funds from has those funds. And the way that the system's built in is once you spend those funds, it's actually really pretty clever. So like all right, so if you were to spend all of the funds out of a single address, there's one output. That's just the address that it's going to. Whereas if you have X amount of funds at an address and you wanted to send a small portion of that to someone, what actually happens is there's a transaction with two outputs. One is the amount that you're sending to that person, and the other is the remainder of the balance that you're either sending back to this wallet or another wallet address. And a lot of people generate new addresses for each transaction. That's a suggested thing to do. So when you spend the money, or when you send me some, you're sending me some and yourself the rest. And so that transaction, or essentially that wallet, or that part is essentially ignored from now on. And there's no need, when someone's tracking those funds from the future, to go any further back than the current block, because that block is no longer relevant for the funds for both mine and his address. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think about at a high level. I mean, okay, so trustless. We don't have to trust that other people have funds. We could just see for ourselves. Decentralized. I sort of touched on this, but just to cover it again, we all have a copy of this public ledger. Every single person who's running a core node in the cryptocurrency network all has a copy. And so if I were to shut my computer off, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the system, because everyone else is still online. And so all of the users of the network essentially hold the network up at any given time. And the people who are buying, spending, and mining or staking are essentially suspending the network up for the rest of the users. And so it's a very democratic, distributed, decentralized system, trustless, and of course encrypted. And it's actually a really great thing. And so that's this introductory video. Look for some more advanced videos if you're looking for more in-depth stuff. Video number 2, the next video, we're going to get into some exchanges.